English. Buonasera a tutti, grazie per essere qui al primo Vadoinafrica Meetup in Uganda, e nonché il primo meetup condotto in lingua inglese, quindi internazionale. E per chi ci guarda dall'Italia, dall'Africa, da tutte le parti del mondo in diretta, buonasera e grazie per partecipare. Good evening, all. Nice to see you all here, and thank you for coming. This is like the first Vadoinafrica meetup in Uganda, and the first one hosted in English, because Vadoinafrica is really expanding throughout Europe and Africa, and we want more people to contribute, more people to connect. So thank you for making this happen too. For those who don't know me, I'm Nalawit Teclehaimanot. I'll be your host for today. I'm from Milan, Italy, but I was born and raised in Eritrea, educated in Italy, and have been living in 3 continents: Africa, Europe, and the States. I will introduce you to our guests for today. Melinda, Wavamunno, thank you for being here. Alem, Dirar, actually she's the head PR and media of Kampala Fashion Week. Alem Dirar, he's Eritrean or Italian too. He's the owner of Paradiso Ristorante, and he's been working also in construction and poultry. Our third guest is Michele Poloniato, which is a managing director for Polo Trading, and he's been working also on the iFish farming project. So thank you all for being here. Thanks Vadoinafrica for making this happen. Thank you Martino, the mastermind behind this. Vadoinafrica is like a huge community connecting people, and we are working to build like a huge network, African and European network, to share ideas, projects, trade, creativity. So thank you all again. Melinda, I'll start from you. Tell us something about you and your projects.
Okay, my name is Melinda Wavamunno. I am the co-founder and head of PR at Kampala Fashion Week. We're an annual fashion show in Kampala. This is our 6th year. We've just completed in September. I'm Ugandan. I've studied and I've lived in the US, in the UK, and South Africa. I work primarily as a brand strategist and I do communications and PR and branding for creatives. So filmmakers, television commercials, movies, and my passion project, Kampala Fashion Week.
Great. Alem? Tell us something about you. What brought you to Uganda?
Okay, good evening all. My name is Alem, as you said. I'm the owner of Paradiso restaurant here in Uganda. Some of the business. I grew up in Eritrea when I was 14. Then I went to Italy in 1979 when I got to study. And I did my diploma in Perito Agra. It's equivalent of land survey, something like that. Anyway, in the field of agriculture, and then I continued for my degree. I'm agronomist by profession. After the in 1991, 92, after the Eritrean independence, I went back to Eritrea to start my business. Instead of starting my business in Italy, I decided to go back to my country. And I established a company, a poultry farm and an animal feed processing plant, which I ran for like...
In which part of Eritrea?
It is about 40 kilometers from Asmara in the Kamari. And I had this company up 2008, 2006, 2007, when I left Eritrea. Then I went to Juba, South Sudan. In South Sudan, exchange, and I was not doing agriculture business, of course. I opened a restaurant and hotel. even in Juba was Paradiso Hotel, like this one. And it was good business, and I get also in construction, consultancy with NGO, something like that. Then I decided to come to Kampala, and now here in Kampala having a restaurant and some other business.
How long you've been living here?
7, 8 years.
Great. Okay. Michele.
Hi all, my name is Michele Poloniato. My story started in Italy 11 years ago in IT services. I opened my own company and I had it, as I said, for 11 years. Then a few years back I started looking around. I didn't like Italy anymore under many ways. So I sold the business and I came to Uganda first time last year in January, so 2018. Supposed to be just a long trip in Africa because I've already been here. And then I met Andrea Lazzari and Federico Tonelli, who they are both part of iFish Farm project.
And, yeah, sorry. And Andrea Lazzari, please, yes. Where are you?
Yes,
yeah.
here, sorry.
We take the opportunity also to present you Andrea Lazzari, which is part of the Marco Polo Trading. He's the managing director and the owner of this place, and also the sponsor for this evening. So thank you, Andrea, for hosting us.
Oh, thank you, guys. It's an honor and a pleasure for me, so enjoy.
Thank you. Yeah, please go ahead.
So yeah, I met them and they're still doing fish farming on Lake Victoria. Fish farming is an inclusive business, it grows up tilapia. And so I started with them as an IT system admin and a visual marketing admin. But then many things drove me to learn fish farming operations. So I've started, and recently and currently I'm a consultant, international consultant in fish farming, operating in Uganda, Tanzania, and DRC.
Great.
Yeah, in the meantime, we opened Marco Polo.
Exactly. What is Marco Polo Trading?
Marco Polo Trading, okay, it was born as a trading only. It has become a consulting company daily. So we are, in a way, doing aquaculture, of course, consulting. And we are helping in business and connecting people, okay, and businesses here in Africa, between Africa and Italy. And that's what we do. So we provide raw materials, we export raw materials, we do consulting in opening business here. We can assist in doing that. So this is what we do.
What was the initial investment to begin the business here?
Altogether, we have 3 actually. So that's Andrea Lazzari and Marco Polo and Dario Ferroni, who's following us from Italy now.
Hi, Dario.
And altogether, we put $15,000, but we basically use them to incorporate the company here and for lawyers and bureaucratic stuff. And of course, travel around. We've been to Ethiopia, doing research in the market, and we've been doing that also in other countries here in Africa. So
great. What about Alem? What was the initial investment to start Paradiso here in Uganda?
When I started Paradiso in Uganda, it was just a residential house. So I had to build all what is there at this moment: sauna, steam, bar, pizza side. And I have to transform the house, and I don't remember exactly how much, but it's around $70,000-$80,000 that I spent at that time.
At that time, okay. Thank you, Melinda. So, what about your Kampala Fashion Week? How did you guys start, and what did you have to put? What were the efforts needed to build up Kampala Fashion Week?
So our first show 6 years ago was actually at the Kololo airstrip. My sister, the founder of Kampala Fashion Week, just said, we were driving by one day and she said, that's where we're going to do the show. And did we know what it was going to take? How many letters, how many office visits, senior office visits. But we managed to get the space, and we were so excited about that. Then we got there and we realized how much it was going to actually cost us to make the show there. So we used a lot of personal investment. We didn't have a lot of sponsorship for our first year. But ticket sales, everything.
But you had the passion that was, The
Yeah.
fashion is the biggest driver.
Yeah, the year before Gloria was showcasing at a Rise Fashion Week in South Africa, and when we went there, we just felt like why don't we have anything like this at home? And that's when we started thinking that we have to develop something in Uganda.
That's beautiful. And please let me take the opportunity to salute to Gloria, which is not in the country for now. Gloria Wavamunno, which is also a designer.
Yes, she's a designer. I'm actually wearing some of her
Really?
clothes.
Okay.
She's a designer, and right now she's on a little tour, so she's representing herself as a designer. She's representing Uganda in Los Angeles. She works really hard to showcase her brand, which is all 100% made in Uganda, around the world.
She's doing a great job. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
So, what were the main challenges that you had to overcome, or what are the main obstacles that you had to face?
I mean, obviously, always finances are a major issue. Getting capital together, getting people to believe in your vision. We also did have a lot of stigma attached. We were, maybe a week before we had our first show, people thought we were encouraging different communities that were not acceptable within the culture. People thought that, we were being a bit exclusive or non-inclusive or too exclusive. So we went through a lot of social stuff, a lot of, gossip in the newspapers and things like that.
Different mindsets, I'm sure.
Yeah. And fashion also, just models. We have different perceptions here of how people should and shouldn't dress. So at one point it was that people are wearing too little, and then it was like men are wearing too much, and why are men wearing makeup? And small little things like that we just step by step we managed to push, and we just kept our vision clear and our intention clear, which was doing something positive and artistic, and also something that does work in the economy here as well.
Great, thank you. What about Alem? What were the main challenges here, and what would have you done differently?
A lot of things. A lot of things that can be done in Uganda, and I'm planning to do it because challenge in restaurants. They are not that much big, but it's a competition, especially in our area. My place is in Muyenga,
Yes.
at Tanki Road.
Where the Eritrean, Ethiopian communities are mainly based. So
Yeah.
Muyenga
Yeah.
and Kabalagala, correct
Yeah.
me firm?
Yes, you're right. Actually, our restaurant is specialized in Italian food, pizza, barbecues, as I said, spa, Eritrean and Ethiopian food. But now, days in the last 3-4 years, there are a lot of restaurants and businesses, the same kind of businesses, coming on the same road.
They are all
So,
concentrated.
Yeah, concentrated
Yeah,
in the
if you
same
could
area,
just-
and
yeah.
this bringing big competition and the slow
Exactly.
the business. Then, in general, the Ugandan economy is slow in space. Everywhere is slow, but on top of that, as I said, competition in that area is one of the challenges.
If you can maybe raise your voice so that they can
Yeah.
hear you. I think there's a problem with the voice, right? With the volume.
Okay. Yeah,
Great.
mainly those are the challenges. In real estate business, when I started real estate, I didn't get any challenge anyway. That was my passion. I like the business and construction. For
What did you
business.
basically do?
I buy plots for all the house. I build. I sell. Sometimes I wait.
Yeah.
This is what I mean. The picture. What I'm planning to do is to engage in agriculture, which is my profession, and mainly in poultry farm, pig farm, and the animal food processing plant. That's
And I
what
think you're in the right place because Uganda is
That's-
rich in natural resources.
That's-
Rain and it's amazing. So I'm sure that will definitely be good. Michele. So what were the challenges for you guys, and maybe what are the lessons that you have learned?
I learned many lessons actually. Still make mistakes. As a trading company, we were born like that. I think the biggest challenge has been to establish and build a strong and reliable network in terms of supplying channels. And we started with raw materials, so looked for reliable farmers, producers, or simply as warehouses or collecting points. Was the biggest struggle, our biggest struggle.
Which area do you operate more here in Uganda?
Actually everywhere, especially the far west, which means the Kasese area in terms of coffee and cocoa, and same thing for the east, Mount Elgon, so the coffee there especially, and depends on what type of coffee, person or Robusta is now there, but it's kind of everywhere except those places. And all the Congo side, I can say that, for cocoa, Gundibujo, for example, and that's demand of our main customers and clients in Italy, traceability of products. So that was the biggest challenge, because you don't know if they move the coffee from one side to another and they just sell it for another one. So,
Do you have both Arabica and Robusta?
yeah, we have both. Yeah.
You concentrate more to one?
We try to stay on high quality material, possibly. Ugandan coffee is not the best in Italy in terms of tasting. Italian are kind of not easy, and
Yes.
so
Do we all agree? Yeah.
especially in coffee, and in terms of food, like always. And yeah, and we also been doing and dealing with dried fruits, so it is a good market. It's not easy to get or to find a product that is, for example, organic certified here, or that it has ISO certification that is required back in Europe. So it's never easy to understand if it's true or it's not true. What's the difference between a product and another? So those are the main struggles that we always have. Up to now, nothing changed. So I think our eyes changed, so we can understand better what we are dealing with. It's not taking like months to do that, and in a few hours we might understand who we have in front of us. But yeah, that's the main struggle.
Okay. And what would you advise to people coming, especially young Italians, young Europeans coming to Uganda in this case? What would you advise? Like, what are the opportunities they can find? What are the challenges that they have to go through?
The way that I arrived here and didn't know anything about this place, and I got to know it in months and years, and that's what helped me. And what I would suggest is, don't come here and just throw money randomly just because you think it's going to be a good business. There are many opportunities around, but half of them might be nothing. But then maybe your money is gone. So what am I suggesting? Keep it quiet, observe, don't listen to, I don't know, suggestion, look for yourself, come here, and that's the only way to do business in Africa, in my opinion.
And I think you have to stay here and follow your business.
Yeah, follow up every day.
Of course, yeah. I mean, you can still have partners, you can still maybe delegate some things to other people, but I think if you want to build something here, you have to be here, at least for the beginning, until you reach the break-even point, or you can already start other businesses too.
Yeah, delegate is our main constraint. I mean, I come from, I don't know, industrially speaking, I think the locomotive of Italy, that is Veneto, is Treviso. So delegating is a thing that's in our blood, but not if you are ruling or if you are the owner of a company. It's never easy. So for me, myself personally, it has been the biggest struggle here. So trust the people, not just Ugandans, I mean anyone, and put my trust on them has been always difficult. But it's me personally, so it doesn't have to be a rule. But yeah, do the thing for yourself first. Understand how it works, then you delegate, not before.
Right, thank you. And Alem, what do you think Uganda has to offer for newcomers? What are maybe the sectors that can be interested in for someone wanting to seeking business opportunity here?
It's very difficult to to suggest someone, do this business, do the other business, because at the end of the day, when someone decides to do business, decides what what he knows, what's the profession that he has. So it's very difficult to say this. You can do this, you can do that. You can suggest do poultry farm, but maybe the person who is coming to invest in Uganda has other interests. Anyway, as everybody knows, Uganda offers a lot of opportunity in agriculture. That's the future. Well, that's what I think that's going to be the future of Uganda, not only in Uganda, in Africa in general. Because food is lacking everywhere, market is there, and the weather, the climate. Uganda has one of the best climate in the world, I think. I have never seen a climate like this.
Maybe you can harvest more than 2-3 times a year, perhaps.
Yeah, so cash crop or like animal farming. Animal farming, or say fish farming. Fish farming works a lot. It's not enough even for local market. Pork farms is not yet enough for the Ugandan market, and Uganda, I think, is considered the first country in Africa for the consumption of the pork. And poultry farming is the same thing. There is enough local market and enough export to the neighboring Kenya. So I think agriculture and animal farming are what I can suggest, but as I said before.
It depends on the background of every person.
Exactly, yeah.
And if I may add, I think that when we think about coming into any African country, into any place, I think we have to think how to create value, how to add value, how to leave a legacy here, how to teach young Africans to know and to be aware that Africa can be built by staying here, by contributing, by building communities. So in this matter, what Melinda, I mean, you know, I know that you are really passionate about women entrepreneurship as well. So as we women, we are strong, but at the same time, I think we are afraid of getting into a business or starting something because we tend to be perfectionists. So we're always at the planning, I'm going to do this, but it takes like forever. So what would you say to young women, maybe even from the diaspora, they want to come here, and how can they start a business? How can they create something here?
It's really interesting. When I was in West Africa a few months ago, and there was a really big meeting that we had to attend, and somebody suggested to me that we found a male to kind of sort of spearhead the meeting while we stood offside, just so as not to intimidate anybody. And of course my answer was no. And I think that's the first thing, is not to be intimidated by the fact that initially, just because of a lot of cultural issues, initially you might not be taken seriously as a female. But if you use that opportunity to sort of back down, you're going to further grow that stereotype that we aren't educated and still at the same time we can be family women and business women at the same time. So I feel like it's just the confidence, and of course I think the confidence comes with experience and education.
Yes, education.
Yeah. And also, you know, everybody has different fields in which they're confident in. If you're doing something that you're passionate about, confident in, that you've had experience in, male or female, you're going to thrive. So I feel like it's just about that confidence and doing whatever you can do within your field to continuously improve your skills. You know, I've finished my degrees and my masters, but I'll always go and re-educate myself in areas so that my confidence levels are higher, or as high as they can be. And I'll do that in cost-effective ways as well, whether it's just using whatever resources online. So I just think developing and mastering your skill and not feeling pressured to mold yourself into what society expects you into. I know many times my sister and I show up to a meeting, and because people think we're in fashion, they assume that we can't hold an intellectual conversation. And sometimes I just let people believe that as they will, and we'll do our businesses. It's not about always proving to people that you're a woman and you're clever and you can do it all, just letting your work speak for itself.
Thank you, thank you. We are Vadoinafrica, we are in Italy, and you know, Italy is like the land of fashion. Are you seeking any partnership in Italy, or would you be interested in some projects? Would you be interested in maybe knowing some designers or anything that Italy can offer in this sense?
Definitely. I mean, we're always blessed that Vogue Italy features us every year that for the last 4 years. The first 2 years, we were still on the coming up, but the last 4 years we've been featured. We were the first East African fashion show to be featured in Vogue Italy. We have a lot of support with the editorial team there, and it's not for favors. I think they're trying to support they see the talent. And so we would love to do something collaborative, maybe a designer from Italy comes here, and a Uganda designer goes there. We also have a lot of our flagship models that have modeled for us, that model on catwalks in Italy. So I think it would be amazing to document and tell that story.
We have the Italian embassy here, so
Yes.
yeah, if they can somehow also think about integrating fashion with yeah, and we have some beautiful women from East Africa too.
Some designers,
someone into the beauty industry, someone from Kenya, but working on IT. So yeah, let's try to work on it. And
the exposure, I mean, this last year, Kampala Fashion Week was in CNN, BBC, and the Wall Street Journal. So even though it's fashion, doesn't mean that it only stays in channels that, because there is the economy behind it and the storytelling. A lot of our models are refugees from South Sudan that are working as a model in our shows to educate themselves. We have a model that's been working for us for the past 3 years, and he's now a registered accountant through modeling. So I mean, there's a lot of different stories that we tell, and these partnerships could help us tell those stories.
Thank you. So I think it will be the last round. Michele, I'll start from you. How would you see yourself in 5 years from now, 3 years? Let's put it even some decades. Yeah.
I love to travel, so I must be traveling. And but at the same time,
yeah, he's listening. Okay. Yeah, he's planning to travel for the future.
Yeah.
So.
But at the same time, yeah, I'd love to see my company growing for all three of us. In Uganda, yeah, maybe in Uganda, maybe not. Maybe coming back and forth. To me, it's gonna be maybe even better.
Do you have any target for the next steps, or is there any market that you want to reach, or any other product that you want to add to your portfolio?
The trading thing, yeah, we have finished product, Ugandan ones, yeah, we're putting at that, and putting at that in terms that we would like to export them to Italy, basically.
What about expanding in the area?
Expanding in the area, yeah, we're thinking about doing something new, but it's still an idea. There's nothing. Dario has been busy for many months up to now. We need to decide what to do. That's the guy who lives in Italy, but he doesn't live in Italy at all. So it's always wrong. Yeah, that thing and the consulting part for sure. Because we realize that we know the country. You can never say very well, but we know the country now. So we can help people, entrepreneurs, so in whatever they want to do in business consulting. So we are prepared in many fields. So I think that's our strength.
Great, thank you. Alem, where are we going to see you next time? Or what are you, I don't know, what do you think about doing in the coming future?
Okay, I really don't know when exactly it's going to happen, but for sure I will go back to my previous profession, my business. As I said, animal feed processing plant and poultry bar, this one for sure. I don't know whether I'm going to expand it in pork farming and so on, pig farming and so on. And on the other hand, I'm just planning to open up a hotel in, but not in Uganda. So
Outside Kampala.
Outside Uganda.
Oh,
Maybe in Malindi.
Okay.
These are my future plans.
All right. Is there anyone from in the audience from the farming or poultry, and you guys want to maybe ask something to Alem? if not, like we'll finish with Melinda, and if you have anyone you can think about, like questions that or any advice that would you like to have. Melinda, what are your next steps, and where would you like to take Kampala Fashion Week?
Well, yeah, and even for next year, we're really looking for one key flagship sponsor for the show. You have like Mercedes-Benz, we're looking for some, not necessarily a specific, Benz, or just like a big brand to take over, so that we can be a little bit less hands-on. We do a lot from the boardroom to like sending out envelopes and delivering things ourselves, so we're very we would love to be able to release that. I can tell you what I would like my bank account to be.
Okay.
No.
Okay, now we're talking serious.
I just want to, just growing and also seeing my team grow. Every year we have 2 people from our team that we send to New York to be a part of New York Fashion Week, and just watching the people that we've been working with growing, and then growing and mentoring others and growing and mentoring others. I just love that to expand more. It's quite small right now. And also, I think that we're always saying, we feel that we're a big part of tourism in the country right now. During the show, we have a lot of international guests. We have a lot of exposure, and I just sometimes wish that we would have not necessarily the support, but government involvement more in arts and actually understanding that it's something that they should be involved in. That would be great to have. We're talking about maybe potentially touring Kampala Fashion Week around Africa. So
that would be great. I mean, because when we think about fashion in Africa, the key player, I think it's Nigeria. We often hear about Nigeria, Ethiopia, South Africa, but I think Uganda is getting there. It's coming up. So that's also
smaller, so we have to fight harder.
I know.
We don't have the numbers that Lagos has, but what I think, as I mentioned before, being able to get the profession, for people that we look at as sort of the art critics of fashion, for them to actually acknowledge what we're doing. In our little small bubble, we appreciate. We would just love that to continue to grow.
Are you also looking for designers from Italy, maybe, or?
Yeah, as I said, we've had a lot of different embassies, contacting us about wanting to do exchanges, and this year we had a record number of applications. We had over 1,000 applications, and designers from all over Africa, which is amazing. Even with models, we had models that traveled on 2 days buses to come to Kampala. So I think that we're a small fish in a small lake.
I know.
But just to keep growing and expanding.
Right. I wish you the best.
Thank you.
The best all. And if you guys have any questions or anything, we have, I think, someone, Andrea,
Yes.
maybe you can help us.
Yes.
I think there are some people live streaming that they want to ask any question. Just 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So, if you can read them.
Oh, okay, question, sorry. Okay, what about access to land in Uganda?
Okay.
Maybe,
Access to land.
maybe Ali,
Or,
I can answer to that.
okay. Yeah, come here, so that they can hear it.
Okay, access to land in Uganda. If you are not Ugandan, sorry.
Feel free to
Okay.
contribute.
So if you are not Uganda, you can only lease a land for no more than 99 years. So you cannot buy land. You can lease for no more than 99 years. And it's not a hard process, I would say, especially if you go out of Kampala. Inside Kampala, it's a bit more, I would say, complicated. Not tricky, complicated.
Okay. Can we exchange you for some minutes so that also Andrea can have like a voice? Yeah, please do.
You got me?
Yeah, you can stay up for
Okay.
You didn't want to be among us ads, but now we
Okay.
found it. Okay, Nate.
This question in Italian.
No questions?
Yeah, they are.
Oh, okay. Easy ones, please.
There was one in agribusiness.
Come again?
There was one question concerning the agribusiness, but I can't find it.
Okay. What about something passion to.
What about doing agribusiness here? What are the opportunities? That was the question.
Yeah, I think you already mentioned some, but we also would you like to add something?
If someone wants to invest or come here and do in agribusiness, what would you suggest?
Well, as I said it before, there are a lot of opportunities in agribusiness here in Uganda. It can be cash crop, can be animal farming, as I said, can be to something fruits to be exported. This country offers a lot of opportunities in Uganda, a lot.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the audience? Yes. Can you also present yourself so that you know?
I stand. Yeah. Thank you. My name is Peter Nakeba. I once lived in Italy for 3 years. That is Trentino. I was studying in Trento.
Great. It's a northwest.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. After Italy, I came back. I started a company and I was moving around and seeing opportunities. One time I contacted my friend who was in Brazil. We started with him in Trento. I visited the coffee farms. I purchased land in Kampala. I started growing coffee. I was interested to hear from Polo trading. I am trying to look at processes. I went through a document for the European Union looking at how coffee should be able to be exported to Europe. In the process, I am trying to look at organic approach. So far, I have planted 30 acres. My first harvest will be started this December into January. I know the challenges you've talked about, especially warehousing, is very true. Tracing the coffee is a very key thing to Europe. I don't know what are your plans in addressing some of the challenges in the value chain of the coffee, especially from post-harvest handling. Is what I've now discovered is very tricky, and it requires you, the bulk purchasers, to come down to work with the farmers, and we have an engagement which provides solutions to the farmers to be able to give you quality, and Uganda to be able to shine that actually our coffee. I was surprised that Italy sees Uganda's coffee would go a little bit low, but when I passed via Belgium on the board, Uganda's coffee was the most expensive, especially Arabic. And I was visiting to US, and I said, wow. So it gives me more courage. So I think we need to help also to do a marketing campaign, like you has been here, to see that we can actually give this information to our partners, our friends, our families in Italy, to see that actually this coffee is very good. So back to you, Polo, my question.
Yes.
How are you planning to deal with the post-handling with the farmers, the engagement? Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Okay, sorry, let me try to answer. So, it's not easy in the sense that coffee being the first commodity for Uganda in terms of gaining forex exchange, dollars. So the sector is quite regulated, but it's quite regulated from after, let's say, the farmer sells to the wholesaler up to the exporter and then shipped to Europe. So there is I think where there is a problem, there is an opportunity. So, and as you say, post-harvesting, it's a huge problem. There are a lot of tenders, especially financed by the EU, for post-harvesting. And what we are trying to do as Marco Polo is to engage both sides. Farmers, of course, in both storage and when and how to harvest, and both on the other side, the wholesaler, again, when to store it, how to store it, but as I said at the beginning, the sector is huge, so we are trying to do with the people that we know, okay, and then with the people that we think they're trying to do something for the sector. Again, you mentioned something about marketing the coffee, the Ugandan coffee, which is already roasted in Italy, right? That's another huge challenge because Michele said it at the beginning very well. Italians are not easy. We drink coffee more than water, so we are very picky in what we want. So yet Italians company who imports coffee from Uganda, they want it green beans washed. They want it not processed. That's a long shot from my point of view. So we rather work on the storage, on the how can I say, to address this issue, because roasting for the Italian market, we are still a bit far. So yeah.
One more thing, the price, not just the quality. Compared to the rest of the world, most of the time, if you base on quality your price, Ugandan coffee is overpriced. And consider that most of the Italian companies, the biggest one, they actually are processing plants for coffee, they buy a ship from Mombasa or from South America. So if you want to deal in high quality coffee, you have to justify what you're selling. Okay. If you do air freight, so you just ship 2 tons up to 8 tons, okay, the price is going to be higher, of course, but not that high. That's the thing that we notice. So if it's too good, maybe it's not true. Just that.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? Okay, I think we came. Yeah. So I think we come to the end. I would like to conclude by saying that, first of all, thanks to our guests. Thank you all for being here again. Vadoinafrica is something that is really changing the mindset of what we know about Africa. We are really working on it, and I myself, I'm a huge Pan-African, which is nothing more than sharing humanity, right? So Africa has been sharing ideas, cultures, traditions, and also trade. So what we are looking to do now is try to build a bridge, especially between Italy and Africa. And therefore, thanks Vadoinafrica for hosting us. Please subscribe to www.vadoinafrica, VADOINAFRICA.com. I made it. And for more information. And of course, connections. I see some people from the accommodation sector, someone from agriculture, someone. Pretty much we have been talking about every sector here. We didn't talk about tourism in Uganda, and I think that fashion can help to promote Uganda, which is like a beautiful land. That's why it's called Pearl of Africa. So thank you all again. We're just going to have a happy hour after this. Please feel free to ask for any contacts, exchange your business cards, try to know more about anything that might be of your interest. Thank you for having me, and hope to see you next time, maybe somewhere else in Africa. Thank you. Good evening.
Music and food.